the sun don't shine came a mean-looking man with a steel jawline. Crawled through hell with a smile on his face. Spit shine boots in the Cajun bone place. Mean-looking man, steel jawline, spit shine boot, Cajun bone place. Born mean but built for the job, a leather-neck legend, a one-man mob, marching through the fire, never gonna stop. Gung Ho Joe, always taking the top. Mud to the knees, leeches on my skin, still made formation with a devilish grin. Crawled out of Paris Island with a knife and a grenade launcher in hand. Now I'm hunting monsters in the Cobra Clan. He don't blink, he don't break, he just brings that righteous quake. Born mean but built for the job, swamp red strand, ain't no problem. Raise that launcher, lock and lob. Gung Ho Joe coming in like a mob. They say the Corps made him cruel, but he was tough long before the rule. Even the moccasins and mores know to stay clear when old Gung Ho Joe is near. He's the brawler in the bayou, the soul of the old patrol. Built for the job, backs to the wall, he's breaking the mob. Let's go! Baton Rouge blood like the head of the snake, and Cajun pride. With a rocket and a growl, he's turning the tide.
Ain't nothing like the smell of victory, or a good old swamp brawl at dawn. Smells like a slice of mare's own gumbo pie.
Mature content warning. On Logan's Joe Takes, strategic commentary may include strong language, heated opinions, classified references, time to call in the Joes. Opposing forces may attempt audio interference. Logan's Joe Takes. Mission begins now.
Yo, Joe, listen up, I got a story to tell about a guy named Logan. Oh, he's so swell, he's the G.I. Joe gamer. Cool and witty, talking about those characters, heroes, and villains at midnight we shout. Yo, Joe, or Cobra, talking about the Joe team and a Cobra tide. Joe's got snake eyes, the silent ninja in black. Quick with his swords, he'll give you a heart attack. Then there's Duke, the leader, so bold, gung-ho, always ready to fight and make those cameos. And we can't forget about Scarlet, the ultimate girl power. A fierce warrior, she'll make her enemies cower. Cobra's got Destro to supply the weapons. Cobra commander plots and schemes, see ruling the world in his dreams. Zartan is never what he seems, and Baron is rocks that black leather outfit. Shoot you quick and slip out the back of the pit. Yo, Joe, Cobra. Logan's here to give his G.I. Joe takes. Oh yeah, yo, Joe, Cobra. Talking about the characters, it's a G.I. Joe thing.
Greetings, I'm Christopher Logan Hilt, the G.I. Joe Gamer. Welcome to Joe Takes 15. Today we're going to talk about Gung Ho from the Hilt. This will be part 5 of our Operation Dungeon Siege, and the first part in our G.I. Joe Gold Bricks part, because we had Cobra Convergence 7 last month. This month we're doing all Joe characters, so let's get right into it by taking a look at Gung Ho. Now, gonna be full disclosure here, I ended up having to buy a new Gung Ho. I had mentioned that in an earlier video, that my original Gung Ho actually had the upper torso, arms, and head of Gung Ho. Actually, I think the arms were from the 92 version, as well as the legs. But I managed to acquire an original from a vintage from 1983, and this one is in really good shape, and it wasn't that bad price-wise. I picked it up on eBay for a little bit of nothing, and the seller shipped it to me pretty quick. So I've had it for about a month now. It's been sitting here on my desk waiting for this video. The tattoo, man, I love that old tattoo. And I didn't remember that he had a knife, a boot, and a pistol. I remember the pistol. I remember those things on the side. As a kid, I didn't know those were for his grenade launcher, even though I should have. But definitely, as I got older, I did. And grenades on his vest. I have a lot of fond memories of Gung Ho. And that's the classified. As for the classified figure, with her too. So we'll start by taking a look at the first one that came out. But we'll look at, like we normally do, we'll take a look at the box art first. I like the box art on this one. He's number 7 in the series. Let's see if I can do this right today. And box art, I like the box art. I didn't find a really decent one, and now that I have a scanner, I should have scanned this myself, but I didn't because I had other pictures. But moving forward, I probably will do that myself if I can't find a decent enough pick. And that's the standard back on that. This Gung Ho, not so bad. I don't mind it. Then of course we have the retro one come out, and I had to open it. But here's the card art for that. And these file cards are just, I don't know. And it's nice to have a file card again, but it's kind of ridiculous. So these things would look great on the wall. The problem with that is, I did pick up another one for that purpose. And so I do have it. This is my carded example of Gung Ho. I don't have a 3 3/4 inch version of Gung Ho on card, but even in the modern line, I only picked him up in box sets and stuff, and so I have a lot of Gung Ho figures, but most of them are out of the package. And this would be the only one that's going to stay in the package now. My cat, actually, I had these on the wall over here, and I guess I had them too low. She actually knocked him off the wall, and so it jacked up that. It's still intact, and I'll probably, before I put it back on the wall, reinforce that with a little bit of tape or something. I don't know. It depends on how I feel about it, because I know that once they put the tape on, it's got to stay. But that's a carded Gung Ho. So that would take us to the classified versions, and I did want to, like I said, I wanted to do a good do a good comparison when they came out. I like the gloves. There was a lot of things I liked about this figure. I was happy to get a Gung Ho. That early in the line, though, I was kind of surprised that they thought of Gung Ho. Now, this is the issue a lot of people have with this figure, is the mohawk and the mustache isn't all that great. So we will put his dome cover back on, because that's the way we roll here. His weapons were okay. I mean, that was his grenade launcher there, and with his grenade launcher shells on the side here. I did like the fact that it was in black. I like the camo. His vest was cool. I still like the Joe Pros. I don't know why a lot of people don't. My issue is the backpack. I mean, this they just won't stay. So maybe I'm putting them on wrong. I don't know. They're okay. I mean, they're not exactly Nerf guns, but they could be Nerf guns. I mean, they're really boxy and square, but I mean, this one is probably the best one. It's also the hardest to get in his hand. And so, like I said, this backpack, I'm not a really good fan of this backpack because it doesn't work. And something that doesn't work really, I'm not fond of. Now the gauntlet was a little weird, but I guess this is his shooting arm, so he wanted to make sure he had some armor protection for that arm, and I get it. But it's gung ho. But then they changed the tattoo, and this tattoo's okay. I like the style better than the original Marine Corps tattoo, although if you look back and you want your nostalgia, you want the Marine Corps tattoo on your gung ho, because how could you? He would have had to have the tattoo removed and then a new one put on. The likelihood that gung ho would do that, not very good. However, this retro gung ho, and they are the same figure roughly, just with different paint, and the tattoo on the retro version is a lot better. And actually, I prefer this tattoo even over the original. I just like the design and everything. But this guy here, the face sculpt, I don't know. It just it passes for gung ho, but this looks more like gung ho. So we'll take a better look at him. And they fixed the whole issue with the head. I got that dome cover on there pretty tight. It shows you the reason why I wear a hat under this light. It's because it gets pretty bright. But we're going to give him his dome cover back, so you can see gung ho a little better there. Now, I thought it was really interesting how the original one, if you put the grenade launcher over the shoulder, on the original one, it had the gun facing upside down, but on the new one, it has it facing up, and it works so much better this way. I like a lot of what they've done with this classified retro gung ho. I mean, this is a dynamic figure, but now people waited. Now they're every time I go to Walmart, I see like 5 and 6 gung hos on the shelf, and up to the point where I got him, I couldn't find this figure for the longest time. But then I found one, and I said, all right, I'm gonna buy one, and then it's gonna be on the shelf. And now it's all over the shelf. And for a moment, him and Shipwreck were in Walmart. I saw Shipwreck in a Walmart a few weeks back, even before a lot of other places had it, which was kind of cool. But I had already acquired a Shipwreck by that point, because he's in the lineup for Daniel Goldberg's coming up here, but we're saving him for last at the end of the month. I do have him sitting here, but we'll check him out later. Now, the comparison I wanted to do between these two figures, though, as I was saying, is they are the same height, so they're the same figure, as you can see. However, like I said, the face sculpt and the head, it's a completely different head, and the vest, I like the way they did the vest, and the tattoo they made it larger so you can see it better. So we'll take a little bit better look at that if I could open up his vest a bit there, so you can get a better look at it. I don't know. I like the Marine Corps tattoo, but something about this tattoo is it works for me. They did a pretty good job on making the backpack at least resemble the vintage backpack, so can't complain. But that grenade launcher is pretty much spot on, except for the way it goes over the shoulder. But I actually prefer the way it is on the retro. So I'm really happy with this figure. I'm glad it came with a battle stand. I think that all the classified figures should come with a battle stand. I don't know why they don't. I think Hasbro has missed the boat on that one, and of course then he's got that little dinky pistol that it works for his sidearm, I guess. But for Gung Ho, you know, all he needs is that combat knife and that grenade launcher, and Gung Ho's good to go. But there we are. So Gung Ho as a Joe, I've seen his file card many times where he is listed as E7. That's generally where they put him, which would be a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps because he's the G.I. Joe Marine. He was the first G.I. Joe Marine. I never really cared for Leatherneck. I know a lot of guys do, but Gung Ho was the Marine for me because that's who I you know, when I started watching G.I. Joe, that was my G.I. Joe Marine. As far as the comics are concerned, he showed up in issue 11, which he's not on the cover for that one, but he was featured probably in this one. It was oddly enough an Arctic setting, and he showed up like this in the Arctic, wearing just his vest. And it was like, they made some comments about it, and I don't know if Larry Hama did that for humor effect or to show that Gung Ho was trying to be tough in front of his new Joe teammates. I don't know. I think they maybe had to do it for licensing reasons, because they even had Torpedo wearing his wetsuit all the time on land missions, and it was weird. Very rarely did he not. This is the first cover I could find that had Gung Ho prominently featured on the cover. I like this cover. It was Roadblock, Trip Wonder, and Snake Eyes. I think it's one of the better ones, but a lot of those ones in the 40s had really good covers. I mean, my favorite character appeared in the 40s as well, not too long after that. Storylines for Gung Ho in the comics, I liked. When he first showed up, that was an interesting storyline, but he was more probably featured in a mission with Stalker, Raker, and Snake Eyes, and Quinn actually showed up in that adventure too, and Snake Eyes and Quinn went off on their own thing. But Gung Ho had to deal with a crocodile, and it was him and Stalker got bit on the leg in that one, and Gung Ho dealt with the crocodile. It was pretty cool. Well, Stalker actually dealt with the crocodile. It's been a long time since I read those. I love the Larry Hama run on G.I. Joe, but when you get into it, you read it and you read them all, and it's a lot to take in sometimes. Not that I don't mind, but as far as the comics is concerned, I know this is just supposed to be a great cover. When Sergeant Slaughter showed up, he actually knocked Zartan out, who was pretending to be Gung Ho at the time. That was kind of neat. Gung Ho wasn't really after that very prominent in the series of the cartoon. I mean, in the comic, but in the cartoon, he showed up right away in the Mass Device. Menace of the Mass Device, the very first G.I. Joe miniseries. He was in Revenge of Cobra. He's always had a lot of cool parts. Thinking back of some of the cooler Sunbow episodes with him, Battle for the Train of Gold. There's Primordial Plot, I think, where him, Scarlet, and Flint went to this island where Cobra was making dinosaurs. That was kind of a bizarre episode, but you know, it was the 80s. They had to throw dinosaurs in there somewhere, I guess. But Gung Ho, I think one of my favorite moments with Gung Ho is in the cartoon is when he drove off in a vamp after being thrown off a horse, and he said there's more than one way to ride off into the sunset, and then he drove off, and Duke said happy trails, Gung Ho. That was a cool moment for Gung Ho. He had a lot, though, as far as the cartoon is concerned. Gung Ho was, like I said, he was really featured very well in the cartoon. So there's that. As far as, like I said, his rank, he has he started out as an E7, but a lot of his file cards also had him listed as an E9, which is either a Master Gunnery Sergeant, well, Master Guns is what they call it, would be E8. But the E9, Sergeant Major or Major Gunnery Sergeant or something, I can't remember exactly the rank for that, but they always listed him as Sergeant Major, and I know that rank does exist in the Marine Corps, but it's kind of weird. And it's wherever you want to put him. I always put him in there as basically the highest enlisted rank that they can do, because they put Gung Ho in at least in the cartoon, they had him in charge of a lot of different units, and he never actually led a team as far as that's concerned. And I don't think in the comics or in the cartoon, but I do remember Cobra Soundwaves where he was kind of in charge, but Ace was the officer, and when Ace would give an order, he would follow it. So it's hard to say, because Ace and Roadblock had been shot down, and they were trapped in the desert because suddenly Gung Ho and Roadblock were pilots. You know what? I have determined this is just from the hill. That the Sky Strikers, it wasn't that the Joes were all pilots, is that the Sky Strikers could be piloted by remote, and they'd have somebody back at base actually flying it for the Joe, and they'd run the guns. That's what it is. Yes. Now some of them could fly, but for the most part, I don't think they all knew how to fly jets. But that's okay. All right, so that leaves us talking about what's going on with Operation Dungeon Siege, and Gung Ho today is part 5 of that, and this will be this is his. He starts off the G.I. Joe Gold Brick. So I hope you enjoy the video. Logan out.
Smell that, boys? That's swamp gas. Must mean cobras slithering around. Down in the muck where the sun don't shine came a mean-looking man with a steel jaw. Oh! Hell with a smile on his face. Spit shine boots and the Cajun bone.
Come on, buddy. It's time to get the hell out of here. What's going on? Oh, my head. Just shake it off and let's go. Alright, we need to grab all of this. All of it. Waste not, want not. Yo, Joe.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained special mission force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against Cobra, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
Yo, Joe. Code name, Gung Ho. Marine, file name, Idian Arlafitted. Grade, E9 Sergeant Major United States Marine Corps. Birthplace, Fer de Lance, Louisiana. Primary specialty, Recondo, biomilitary expert. Secondary specialty, jungle warfare training instructor. Anti-armor specialist, heavy weapons, qualified expert. All NATO infantry small arms and most Warsaw packed infantry weapons. XM-76 grenade launcher. Graduated, Airborne School, Recondo School, Marine Ordnance School. Preferred weapon, XM-76 grenade launcher. Gung Ho was born and raised in a swamp, went to boot camp in a swamp, and spent most of his Marine Corps career sneaking around in other countries' swamps with a grenade launcher in his hands. He can low crawl through the nastiest black water, stinking mud and bubbling slime for a week with half his body covered in leeches, and the other half raw with bug bites, and still make an 0700 inspection formation with polished brass, spit shine shoes, razor creases, and a mean look in his eye. That's a Marine.
Born into a large back swamp Cajun clan, Gung Ho moved to New Orleans and won a reputation as a bare-knuckle brawler and knife fighter to be reckoned with. Joined the Marines at 18 and graduated top of class from boot camp at Parris Island. From Captain Cutter's file, when the going gets rough, that's when the Marine Corps gets sent in. The same is true for G.I. Joe. When his buddies have their backs against the wall, that's when Gung Ho moves in to do some heavy butt kicking. The other G.I. Joes claim Gung Ho is the scariest, craziest jarhead who ever kicked and clawed his way out of the Corps' ultimate hole in the swamp, Parris Island. What kind of hard case considers an anti-tank missile launcher a personal weapon? Gung Ho, that's who. Zap says, all Marines are crazy, but Gung Ho is the hairiest, scariest, craziest jarhead ever. I thought you wanted the job done right. Isn't that why you called in the Marines? This isn't just another bug hunt, it's war. This isn't just another bug hunt, it's war.
You smell that, boys? That's victory. And swamp gas must mean cobras slithering around. Where the sun don't shine came a mean-looking man with a steel jawline. Crawled through hell with a smile on his face. Spit shine boots in the Cajun bone place. Mean-looking man, steel jawline. Spit shine boot, Cajun bone place. Born mean but built for the job. Leatherneck legend, a one-man mob, marching through the fire, never gonna stop. Gung Ho Joe, always taking the top. Mud to the knees, leeches on my skin, still made formation with a devilish grin. Crawled out of Parris Island with a knife and a grenade launcher in hand. Now I'm hunting monsters in the Cobra Clan. He don't blink, he don't break, he just brings that righteous quake. Born mean but built for the job, swamp red strand, ain't no problem. Raise that launcher, lock and lob. Gung Ho Joe coming in like a mob. They say the Corps made him cruel, but he was tough long before the rule. Even the moccasins and mores know to stay clear when old Gung Ho Joe is near. He's the brawler in the bayou, the soul of the old patrol.
Logan's room full of Joe take dreams. Crimson Guard with eyes on the team. Snake Eyes silent and mean but tough to rile. Roadblock rhymes and cooks with style. Duke as the first shirt making with a plan. Cobra Commander schemes with his clan. Scarlet sharp hits hard, flips fast. Destro's armor gleams from the past. Logan's G.I. Joe takes fierce and honest view. Red versus blue, it's up to you. Stay a while and listen for the consumerism. Logan's G.I. Joe's takes given with enthusiasm. Zartan shifting sneaks in disguise. Storm Shadow's blade cut through lies. Baron is cold with her deadly aim. Shipwreck laughs gun clears the way. Major Blood's battle cry echoes near. General Hawk leads, we cheer. From the hilt on YouTube, tune in for a day. Joe takes to help you with your play. Let's put these characters to the test. Logan's the G.I. Joe gamer, plays it best. Yo, Joe, Cobra, let's go. Let's go. Logan's G.I. Joe takes fierce and honest view. Red versus blue, it's up to you. Stay a while and listen for the consumerism.